Alright guys, welcome to another weekly outlook video. In this video, I'll be as brief as possible. I'll try, I know I say this a lot, but I will try to make this as short as possible, as precise as possible, and I'm hoping that if you do have questions, you do ask in the comment section below. I realize that I say that to many people, but people are also scared to ask. But honestly, I don't see how anyone would grow or expand their knowledge or understanding without asking. So yeah, please do ask questions. I'm open almost every day to reply to messages. Anyway, so as always, we'll start off with the dollar. If you watched my last intraday update, if you watched my last intra-week and intraday update, you would know that I was waiting to see if we could close above this down close candle on the daily. The reason I wanted to see a closure above this down close candle, and preferably this swing high, but I was more focused on the series of down close candles, this white one and this white one. If we could close above both of them, I would use them as another block, right? So right now, to me at least, this is a valid bullish order block. It does not have to be a valid order block for you. For some people, it could be here. For some people, it could be the entire wick to body of the highest one. And for some people, it's the entire candle, the entire down close candles to the downside. So everyone has their own preferences. For me, I'm good enough with these two levels as my bullish order block. I'm actually going to make them a little bit bolder so that you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. So I'm looking at these two areas, these two specific levels, as a reactionary area for higher prices on the dollar. The reason I was looking for higher prices in the first place was because of the weekly chart and how we had this weekly BC with a bearish order block. This combination was prime for higher prices, but I mentioned that I was waiting to see if we got a lower time frame confirmation or if price was going to spool down towards the monthly BC. On the monthly chart, you get to see the BC that I'm referring to right there. So yeah, right now we have closed in the month of January. You can see how this monthly candle has basically been one weird indecisive candle. We pushed down all the way down there, we pushed up all the way up there, and somehow we closed almost where we opened up in the month of January. So because of this, I'm expecting an expansion in the month of February. I don't know, or I don't really care if we expand higher, clearing a new high of year, or if we push down, finally tapping into this monthly BC. Either way, I'm going to work with lower time frame price action. So going down to the 4-hourly chart, I'm going to clear these two purple lines for now. I don't think they're necessary on the 4-hour chart, but on the 4-hour you can see clearly that price swept liquidity. We swept that sell side liquidity right there, tapping into this new day opening gap, or volume imbalance or liquidity void, right? We tapped into it, which is also the higher time frame PDRA, which is the weekly BC. Reacted away from it, creating a BC even on the way up, and an order block there as well. Price came down, swept as low as this, but we still did not close below the BC that we created here. So price is now showing us higher prices. For me, this down close candle here is a bullish order block, and the fact that we created another one off of it becomes a proportion block, right? So if price comes back down here, I'm willing to take dollar to push it higher. It doesn't even have to come down there. It could even be here. A retest is enough for me to take it higher. But to be honest with you, looking at the dollar right now, I believe the dollar is going to open up with one massive gap to the upside somewhere here. I don't know if it even makes sense, but this is all based on the tweet that Trump made over the weekend, which, let's go over there now. Right there, we can see this was just a few hours ago. Yeah, we can see 46 million views on this post where he says, today I have implemented a 25% tariff on imports from Mexico and Canada, 10% on Canadian energy, and 10% on additional tariff on China. This was done through the International Emergency Economic Powers Act because of the major threat of illegal aliens and deadly drugs killing our citizens, including fentanyl. We need to protect Americans, and it is my duty as president to ensure the safety of all. I made a promise on my campaign to stop the flood of illegal aliens and drugs from pouring across our borders, and Americans overwhelmingly voted in favor for it. So I don't care what your political stand is about America or whatever you might think about Donald Trump as a president, but for me, that just sounds like I'm trying to make the dollar as strong as possible. I'm trying to make the American economy to be as strong as possible, and this was 19 hours ago. This was over the weekend. So this makes me think that we're going to have bullish dollar. I mean, this is more of an addition of why I believe we're going to have bullish dollar. Now, when we go over back to the charts, right, if we're going to have bullish dollar, I'm expecting every down close candle to support higher prices. So right now, we have a down close candle right there on the 4-hour chart. Put it out in price, in time. I'm expecting anytime we retrace back down to this down close candle, we get higher prices on dollar. On the other hand of the spectrum, if price pushes down and starts closing below important swing lows, like say for example that swing low, we close below it, then obviously we could look for sells towards the monthly BC. It's as simple as that. We have an important order block here that took liquidity. If this order block gets violated, we can start looking for bearish price action. For now, I am really bullish on the dollar, and that obviously means that I'll be bearish on euro and bearish on pound. I'm not going to take too much time on euro and pound because it's the exact opposite. So we got bearish media rates getting respected. If we are bearish, we should start respecting more. We should start respecting up close candles. So price should do that and continue lower. My target on euro is 1.01 psychological level right there, which is at the fill of this massive purple area, which is just a higher time frame fair value gap. I believe it's a monthly. Yeah, it's a monthly. It's 100% fill of this monthly gap. So if we are bearish, if price is really going to fall, I'm expecting 100% fill of this monthly gap, which is gonna coincidentally be at the 1.1 psychological level. Nearest target though is this relative equal lows that we have right here. So yeah, just watch out for bearish price action on euro. If we're bullish, the same thing applies. Let's see if price can close above this important liquidity sweep, the swing high right here. If we close above it, then we could definitely target the monthly CB all the way over there. So yeah, I don't see the need to go down to an hourly chart because it's basically the same thing. Just start looking for CBs to sell, but I'm thinking we're gonna open down with a massive gap, but we'll see. We will see. We'll see. GU is the same thing, but EU is weaker than GBP, so something to keep in mind. For example, GBP is still inside of the daily gap, which on a high time frame could possibly look bullish because we're still in that bullish gap, right? So we could still use this to propel higher, and in a way it works for us, right? Because if dollar decides to plummet, if dollar decides to lose strength and start closing below this swing low, then GBPUSD becomes the the preferred pair to buy. So if we're buying, I think buying GBPUSD would be the one to go. So look for shifts on lower time frame, confirmation to buy to these relative equal highs, then even maybe that buy side liquidity. So yeah, if you're bearish, look for a closure below this daily gap, then look for a retest as it now becomes an inverted gap, then continuation lower. So what I mean by that is a close below, right? Close below this purple highlighted area, then a retest of it, then continuation lower. Simple as that. And yeah, now that we're done with that, let's move on to the indices. NASDAQ. If we're expecting higher dollar, if we're expecting higher prices on the dollar, then technically speaking, without thinking much into it, if price was perfectly correlated right? If everything was perfect the way it's supposed to be, then we should be expecting lower indices. So I'm looking to see if we finally get to these equal lows right there at 20,680.25. If we go through that, I'm looking for this specific level, 20,387. I know it's a weird structure for that, but we've generated so many sell side now. We have this sell side, we have that swing low, we have that swing low. So I think if we're gonna fall off, we're going to do it in a very dramatic fashion. So watch out for possible gaps lower, retracement to fill up the NWOG, then continuation lower. Just watch for new week opening gaps as possible areas of resistance for lower prices. The same idea applies to ES. Even though we're close to the all-time high, there's a high likelihood of us trading all the way back down to these equal lows. Just keep in mind that it's NFP week this week, so everything and anything is still possible. Yeah, that's basically all I have for now. I would have covered gold, but we've already reached the level that I pointed out last time. If we're gonna continue bullish, we could watch this gap right here on the daily chart for internal to external back to the all-time high. So yeah, nothing much for me to add here on gold. If there's anything that I see interesting, any development, any changes, any updates, whatever it is, I'm going to post it here on the channel. So if you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe, turn on the notification bell, so you get notified when I do release those intra-week updates, adjusting and even telling you my exact trades in the process, because I mean that's why it's an intra-week update, right? I'm not a scalper. I usually hold trades for an entire week. So yeah, you get to see my direction, you get to see what PDRAs I'm watching for specific entries and everything else. So for now, stay safe, good luck, and as always, good trading.